Question number 8 of the PhilNITS FE afternoon portion of the exam. We are now in blank F, and in this blank we are also inside the addCourse method of the student class. So what we need to do is add a course to the student. And inside the addCourse method, we have the if statement here, which says that if the course's HashMap is less than the number of maximum, the number that is the maximum number of courses, then we proceed. And also, if F is true, then that's the only time we'll be adding the course to the course's hash map. The thing is, what would be the answer, the correct answer for the blank F? We have to, of course, look at the available choices. And the way I answered this was to eliminate all the other available choices. For example, C and D. I was able to eliminate course.getCode because if we look at the portion of the code that actually uses the addCourse method, here in the takeCourse method of the course management class, where we have the steps like add new course, add new student, add new faculty, and eventually we have here take course. So the student takes a course, and inside the take course method we have something like this, where we also have the student's hash map, and we are adding a course to the student. Because the student's hash map, we can get hold of the student class for a student using the student's ID. And once we get the student class for that student, then that's when we can use the addCourse method. Because the student class, the student object, has the method addCourse. Now, the choices a while ago that I was saying we can eliminate, it's actually this part here, courses that get code equals to null or not equals to null. And just at this particular point, we already have that part already. And I put here, if it's null, then it already fails at this portion of the code, right? It's going to tell us that it's null. We're attempting to get the, in this case, I think the course object using the code, the course code. And if it's null, then it's going to fail here. It's going to tell us it's null. So we don't need to add another portion in our if statement verifying if the courses that get code would be null or not null, because it's already done in this part. Okay, even before we enter the method, we are already getting the courses that get code here. So it's going to tell us that if it's null, then you have a problem in this portion of the code right away, right? So when we go to the addCourse method, here, the addCourse method, then we can opt to choose for another possible answer that is not necessarily what we already have checked prior to this part of the code, right? So this one would be incorrect already. Now the next one, we have E and F. Here it says that course.getFaculty equals null or not equals to null. I think in this case, we are going for student, because remember, we are in the student class. So we are adding the course to the courses hash map of the student class. Again, the student class here, we have the courses hash map. And this is not the faculty class, but the student class. Therefore, we can eliminate this one, this set to E and F. Now we're down to G and H. How do we eliminate G and H? I think if we look at the code here in addCourse, we can find that there's this portion here where you, for example, when you put the course into the courses hash map, you check whether the output would be null, and then that's what you return, whether it's going to be true or false. And in this case, just to understand what's happening here, if, for example, the course code isn't found, then we put the course in the hash map because it's not yet there. And then the return would be null. And so this one, null equals null, would be true. Okay? Otherwise, we return false. That means that we didn't add the course to the student at all. Now, how did I know this part here? Course code not found, put it in hash map, and then the output will be null. It's in this part here in the explanation of the interface, the hash map, where you got a method put, and it says here that if, for example, we don't find the for example, in this case, I think we are attempting to put the course into the courses hash map using the key, and if we don't find it, then it says here we return a null. There was no mapping for the key. Okay, so therefore the key, if it's not there, then it's gonna give us a null, right? And in this case, if it's not there, then that's, I think, the time when we have to put it there. Okay, so if we are successful, if we can put the course code, in this case, I think if we can put the course using the course code, which is the key, then that's the time when we get a null and we return a true here, because we're successful in adding the course to the courses hash map. So that should at least solve this particular problem here, G and H, because we are already using that part here in this portion of the code. So if we have to put something like this, then this part here won't be necessary anymore, right? Because, for example, if we have courses that get code equals to null, then why would we need to put equals null here too? So it seems like we are adding excess code because we have something like that already here in the return statement. Okay. Of course, this can be false too if the return value is not null, and that would give us a false. So it looks like this one, if we have to add this, we are already going for an answer, whether it be true or false, and this part here won't be necessary. So I think we don't need to put this one anymore, given that the return portion of the code already has that part. Okay, now for A and B, which one is it? I think that what they did was also to look at the portion of the code again, where you have the addStudent method. Okay, so right now we are talking about the course object, course class, and it has the addStudent method, and we can see that if we add the student using the ID, and in this case, if we are successful in adding the student to the course, then we get a true. Otherwise, we get a false. We don't add the student anymore, okay? And again, we'll need a true here, this part, so that we can enter the portion inside the if statement. So this one, the first part here, should be true, and this one should also be true. And once we have both true, then we can enter this portion and this portion of the code and return a value. For example, if we're successful, then it would return a null here, and null equals null is true. Then that means we have successfully added a course to the student. Okay, and I chose B as the answer because if we are unable to add the student in the course because we got a false here, then I think that that's not what we are aiming for, because we need to add the student to the course. Okay, again, what's happening in the method that uses addCourse? We have the student taking a course. We add a course here, and then we add the courses that get code. We add the course to the student class. So the course also has to have the student added, and if it's successful, that's when we add the course to the student's courses HashMap. And if we're not successful there, then we won't be able to add this one. And if we went with A, that would be the opposite of what we're going for. Okay, so that's why the correct answer would be